night softens differently on the African savanna. It glides across the land in long breaths, blue dust rising, warm stones cooling, and the last gold lines of sunlight fading like old memories along the horizon. The grasses hush, folding into themselves. Birds settle into the cradle of umbrella-shaped acacias, and somewhere in this wide quiet, a life begins. A tiny elephant calf, still trembling from birth, blinks its heavy lashes as the world shapes itself around her. Her skin is warm and damp, steaming slightly in the evening air. Her mother stands over her like a living wall of comfort, her trunk brushing softly along the calf's spine, guiding her to breathe, to steady, to belong. This is where our night unfolds. Welcome to sleepy nature sleep, where the wild grows soft and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts follow the rhythm of the earth, your breathing settle like evening wind, and your mind wander gently through the quiet wild. Here, in this slow place, nothing hurries, not the breeze, not the distant call of a nightjar, not even the waking heartbeat of this newborn elephant. As you settle into your pillow, let yourself mirror the savanna's pace, steady, grounded, unhurried. Let the day fall away like sunlight slipping behind the tall grass. You have nowhere to be but here, walking gently beside this new life whose journey will follow from first breath to final dusk. Elephants do not merely live in nature, they carry it. In the grooves of their skin, in the calm weight of their footsteps, in the ancient memory passed through their matriarchs. Their stories move in circles rather than lines, looping back through places of water, shade, and old belonging. So tonight, as we wander through one elephant's entire life, you'll feel those circles too, expanding, softening, settling. If these journeys bring you comfort, or if this gentle corner of nature helps you unwind, you're welcome to support Sleepy Nature Sleep with a like or subscribe. It keeps this soft world blooming quietly, but for now, there is nothing to do, nothing to hold, just breathe. The calf presses her head against her mother's leg. The herd gathers close, and the night opens like a slow, protective lullaby. Our story begins with a breath, a tremble, and the promise of a life shaped by the wild. Before we follow the calf farther into the savanna, a question rises, soft, curious, carried on the wind like dust from distant hooves. What does an elephant remember across a lifetime? It is a question tucked beneath the tall grasses, waiting for anyone willing to move slowly enough to hear it. Elephants are known for their memory, but not the hard, sharp kind used to store facts. Their memory is different, emotional, spatial, ancestral. It flows like a river carved not in water, but in instinct, experience, and the long echoes of their herd. Imagine the calf, still only hours old, surrounded by the deep rumbles of her family. She doesn't understand these vibrations yet, not as language, but she feels them. And feeling is how memory starts. A world of impressions. The smell of her mother, the warmth of her aunts, the sound of insects humming through dusk. Across the seasons of her life, she will return to places she has never been, guided by maps drawn long before she was born. She will know which paths lead to water, which winds signal rain, and which silhouettes in the tall grass mean danger. Memory, for an elephant, is a story written in footsteps. And as you listen, as your breathing slows, you might notice your own memory loosening, no longer clinging to your day, your worries, your tasks. Instead, you drift into a wider landscape where thoughts soften into sensations. What does the savanna remember? What does the earth hold under its dust? What do we carry without knowing? The calf leans into her mother. A rumble rolls through the herd like a quiet answer. Perhaps memory is not something you keep. Perhaps it is something that keeps you. Tonight, as we journey through decades of this elephant's life, that question will follow us, changing shape, softening edges, guiding us through the quiet wild. Before the calf takes her first real steps into life, we pause to look gently at the world that will shape her. The African savanna stretches in all directions, a vast mosaic of grasses, trees, dust, and sky. In daylight, it is a place of movement, hooves, wings, shadows, and heat dancing in shimmering waves. But at night, it becomes something else entirely. The landscape quiets. Colors fade into blues and silvers. The air cools and carries the scent of dry soil and distant water. Here, the seasons breathe like giant creatures of their own. Wet seasons arrive with rumbling skies and sudden green, filling water holes and painting the land with abundance. Dry seasons stretch long and lean, pulling rivers back into memory and thinning the grass until the earth shows its ribs. This is the world the calf must learn to read, not through words, but through rhythms. The shifting light, the tilt of the wind, the silence before predators move. Acacia trees rise like wide umbrellas, providing shade that will become her earliest classroom. Termite mounds tower like ancient sculptures. Water holes scatter across the land like mirrors reflecting the sky, and every elephant knows them, even the ones they've never visited. The herd stands in the cooling dusk, a cluster of gray shapes breathing in unison. The calf presses closer to her mother as insects hum their night song. Fireflies flicker faintly among the grass. The moon climbs, slow and bright. Everything here has a rhythm, steady, patient, older than memory itself. And this is where her life will unfold. As you listen, let this landscape become yours too. Feel its width in your chest. Feel its quiet settling around your thoughts. Let your mind walk here without hurry. The journey ahead is long, decades long, but we will walk it gently, one step at a time, one breath at a time, through grasslands, rains, migrations, and seasons of change. The landscape before us is wide, and so is the night. The calf's first night slowly dissolves into a pale, tender dawn. Light does not simply arrive on the savanna, it grows. It unfurls across the horizon like a soft ribbon, brushing the tops of tall grasses until each blade glimmers with a faint, silvery glow. The calf stirs, her tiny trunk curling and uncurling as she tastes morning for the very first time. Her mother, patient and warm, stands over her like a gentle tower. The others in the herd shift around them, sisters, aunts, cousins, an entire family woven into a single protective ring. Elephants do not welcome new life with noise. They welcome it with presence, with warmth, with the deep chest-borne rumbles that vibrate through skin and bone like a lullaby for the earth itself. The calf rises on trembling legs. One wobble, another. Her ears flap unsteadily, oversized and soft as new leaves. She leans into her mother's leg, steadies herself, and tries again. Her world is still blurry, not just visually, but sensorially. Everything she encounters arrives layered: scent, vibration, warmth, movement. Scientists call this imprinting. Elephants call it life's first memory. The matriarch approaches slowly. Her skin is a map of decades, wrinkles like dried riverbeds, scars like whispered stories. She extends her trunk, inhales the calf's scent, and releases a quiet rumble that trembles through the ground. This is how elephants welcome someone new, by learning their smell, their sound, their presence, by absorbing them into the collective memory of the herd. The calf tries her first steps forward. Her feet press into the soft morning soil, pads pliant, sensitive, full of nerve endings. Elephants feel the world not just through their trunks, but through their feet. With each hesitant step, the calf senses the faint thrum of insects beneath the ground, the distant shifting of hooves, the soft answering rumbles from her family. She does not know it yet, but these first steps are the beginning of a lifetime of remembering. The earth beneath her feet, the air around her, the steady heartbeat of her mother. These things will remain with her long after she has grown tall and strong. A bird calls from a nearby acacia. A breeze moves gently across her back. The day opens slowly, like a soft hand unfolding. As you listen, let yourself mirror the calf's pace. Feel the ground beneath your own inner landscape. Let your breath move with the same quiet determination, unhurried, gentle, new. The calf lifts her head. The herd watches. The sun grows brighter, and life begins to stretch forward. In the world of elephants, motherhood is not the work of one. It is a circle, a living, breathing constellation of females who share responsibility, wisdom, and warmth. The calf learns this before she even understands her own body. The moment she stumbled into the world, she did not encounter a single caretaker. She encountered a family. The aunties move closer this morning, surrounding her in a wide crescent. Their trunks brush her back in slow, deliberate strokes, each touch a lesson in reassurance. Elephants communicate so much through touch, guidance, comfort, encouragement, and even gentle discipline. A trunk tapping the ground softly says, "Stay close." A firm but warm nudge says, "Come this way." A slow stroke says, "You are safe. You belong." These females form what scientists call an allomothering group. But the elephants need no word for it. They simply do what they have done for thousands of years, raise one another's young. One aunt stands slightly closer than the rest. She is the mother's sister, bonded by both blood and scent. She watches the calf with a fierce tenderness, rumbling softly whenever the calf wanders even a few steps too far. Another female, older and calm, positions herself behind the calf to steady her if she falls. Together, they move like the petals of a protective flower. The matriarch observes quietly. She does not intervene unless needed. Her role is larger, memory keeper, decision maker, guide through drought and abundance. The younger mothers look to her not with fear, but with reverence. She has led them through storms, predators, scarcity, and miracles. As the morning warms, the calf begins to test her world. She nudges an acacia branch. She mouths a stick. She leans into her mother's side and feels the slow, grounding exhale of a creature who has survived decades. Every action, every sound, every scent becomes part of her education. And through it all, the circle holds. This part of an elephant's life mirrors something we often forget, that care does not have to be solitary, that nurturing is strongest when shared, that young lives grow not only from one source, but from many. As you listen, let yourself feel the warmth of this circle of mothers, steady, patient, unhurried. Imagine standing in that ring of wisdom, protected by slow breaths and ancient memory. The calf presses into the center of the circle. The herd closes around her, and the savanna feels for a moment like a cradle. By midday, the calf's wobbly attempts at walking become small, determined strides. Her steps are uneven, some slow, some hurried, but each one is a declaration. I am learning this world. The herd moves in a loose cluster, not far from the trees where she was born, giving her space to explore, but never more than a few breaths away. Her mother stays closest, but it is the ground that teaches her most. The earth beneath elephant feet is not merely soil. It is a tactile landscape filled with messages. Her feet, soft and rounded with thick pads, register vibrations like distant whispers, insects tunneling beneath the surface, hooves thudding miles away, the subtle crackle of dry grass under the wind. With each step, she learns balance. With each hesitation, she learns caution. With each stumble, she learns resilience. Sometimes she falls. Sometimes she leans against her mother's leg, gathering strength. Sometimes she stands still, ears relaxed, experiencing the sensation of simply being. Science tells us that elephants develop their motor skills slowly compared to many mammals. But slow does not mean weak, it means deliberate. It means careful formation, like a sculpture shaped by countless gentle touches rather than force. When the calf lifts her trunk experimentally, she startles herself. It flops forward like a heavy ribbon. She tries again, swinging it toward a patch of grass. It misses completely. She tries a third time, managing only to poke the ground. The herd watches with soft amusement. Adult elephants make trunk use look effortless, but for a calf, it is like trying to control an extra limb without instructions. Over time, this floppy ribbon will become her tool, her voice, her memory, her second heart. The matriarch emits a low, guiding rumble. The calf responds instinctively, stepping closer. Her feet sink slightly into the warm soil, anchoring her. Walking is more than movement. It is learning how the world holds you. It is discovering how your weight fits into the shape of the land. It is understanding that each step forward is also a step into memory. As the sun climbs higher, the calf walks a few more meters, then stops, listening. A breeze crosses the plains, birds shift in the trees, the sky widens, and the calf, barely a day old, takes her place in the world with another small, determined step. By afternoon, the calf begins to understand one of the first truths of her life. Nourishment comes from closeness. She stands beneath her mother, nudging gently, instinctively, until she finds the warm place where milk flows. It is rich, warm, and thick, carrying not only nutrients, but calmness, comfort, and an understanding that she belongs. Elephant milk is not simply food. It is a message whispered through the body. Grow slowly, grow safely, grow with your family beside you. As she nurses, her mother rests her trunk across the calf's back, an ancient gesture of reassurance. The calf's breathing steadies, her muscles soften, and her body absorbs strength that will one day grow into towering mass, coiled power, and gentle resilience. Around her, the herd shifts in a circle of ease. Some graze lazily on nearby grass. Others sway in slow motions that mirror the rhythm of the heat. A few younger elephants doze in the warm shade, gently leaning against one another. The calf drinks not just when hungry, but whenever she feels unsure, overwhelmed, or tired. Nursing offers more than survival. It offers grounding. Scientists studying elephants often remark that the calm, emotional bonds within a herd are as vital as food or water. A stressed mother might produce less milk, and a stressed calf might struggle to thrive, so peace itself becomes nourishment. The calf pauses and looks up, milk dribbling slightly down her chin. Her mother rumbles softly, a sound that vibrates through them both. This rumble is a promise she will hear throughout her life. In the distance, birds chatter lightly among the acacia trees. Termites click softly inside their tall mounds. A warm breeze stirs the scent of dry grass. Nursing is her anchor in this sensory world, a place where her newness meets the herd's ancient steadiness. She steps away for a moment, trying to imitate the adults by mouthing a small patch of grass. Her attempt fails. She sneezes, shakes her head, and returns to her mother. Every elephant begins this way, fed by closeness, strengthened by connection. The calf drinks again, slower now, calmer, her ears relaxed and loose. Day settles into its warm, golden middle, and she learns something profound without ever thinking about it: that safety is a circle, and strength begins with softness. When the heat rises high enough, the herd moves toward a cluster of acacia trees, their canopies spread wide like umbrellas, shading circles of earth that feel cooler, almost tender. The calf follows, her shadow tiny beside the long, elegant shapes cast by the grown elephants. Under these trees, she learns the first secrets of temperature and comfort. Acacia shade is not just darker, it is alive with movement. Beetles scurry beneath the fallen pods, birds hop along branches, pecking for insects. Wind slips through the leaves with a soft clicking sound, a language of its own. The calf stands in that shade, feeling its difference. The heat of the sun fades from her back, replaced by a mild, soothing coolness that relaxes her tiny muscles. She flaps her ears, imitating her elders. The movement is clumsy, but even this helps cool her blood through the vast network of vessels in her ears. She moves closer to a low acacia branch and sniffs it. Its sharp thorns surprise her, nature's quiet reminder that beauty often protects itself. Her mother gently redirects her with a soft trunk nudge. Lesson learned. Scientists often speak of the savanna as a thermodynamic classroom where creatures learn to manage heat, shade, and energy. For elephants, shade becomes a refuge, a gathering place, a pause in the long rhythm of their days. The herd rests here, standing mostly, rarely lying down. Elephants sleep lightly and briefly, trusting their weight to their legs and the security of numbers. While they rest, the calf explores small patches of earth, sniffing, touching, memorizing textures. She discovers that soil beneath shade holds moisture longer. It smells different, cooler, richer, almost sweet. She presses her foot into it, feeling the softness. Her trunk brushes it, tasting faint minerals. Shade is not absence of sun. Shade is presence of comfort. A few older elephants shift positions to widen the shaded area for the calf and other young ones. Their movements are slow and deliberate, as if the savanna's heat has melted all urgency away. The calf lowers her head, eyelids growing heavy. The trees sway gently above her. Shadows ripple like a quiet lullaby across her skin. Here, in the cool cradle of the acacias, she learns that the world is not only a place of challenges, but also a place of shelter, where even the trees keep watch. Late afternoon brings a shift in the air. A breeze that once felt warm now carries the faint scent of water, distant, delicate, unmistakable. The herd pauses, lifting their trunks to test the wind. The calf mimics them, though her trunk bends awkwardly, pointing in several directions at once. Far away, a cloud rumbles. The sky darkens in a slow, theatrical sweep. This is the beginning of her first rainy season. To an elephant, rain is more than weather. It is promise. It is memory. It is renewal. Fat droplets fall suddenly, hitting the ground with soft thumps. The calf startles, blinking rapidly as cool water splashes her face. She shakes her head, confused, then delighted. The smell of wet earth rises around her, rich, warm, almost sweet. The scent is so strong it feels like something she could drink with her lungs. The herd becomes animated. Adult elephants lift their trunks high, trumpeting softly in excitement. They love the rain, not just for relief from heat, but because rain brings food, water, and the return of migratory paths. The calf steps forward, trying to catch raindrops with her trunk. She fails at first. The trunk flops, bends, and splashes mud instead. But soon she learns to raise it slightly, letting water hit its tip before she curls it toward her mouth. Thunder murmurs somewhere above them, more like a deep breath than a threat. As the rain intensifies, the herd begins to move. Slow and rhythmic, their massive bodies glisten, turning dark and shiny. Water gathers in the wrinkles of their skin like tiny streams filling ancient riverbeds. The calf slips in the fresh mud and falls onto her side. But before fear can rise, an ant is there, her trunk lifting, nudging, steadying. The calf stands again, mud-smeared, triumphant. Rain softens the world. It erases sharp edges. It blurs boundaries between sky and soil. For elephants, the rainy season marks abundance, fresh grass shoots, fuller rivers, richer scents. For the calf, this moment marks something even deeper. The understanding that nature changes, shifts, arrives, and recedes, all without hurry. She leans into her mother as the rain falls in warm curtains, her heartbeat sinking with the steady patter. Around her, the savanna transforms from pale dust to living green. And in this first rain, she discovers a new part of herself, a creature shaped not just by sun and soil, but also by water from the sky. After the rain, the savanna feels newly born. The earth, once hard and cracked, becomes soft beneath the elephant's feet, warm mud rising gently around their steps like a slow, welcoming tide. The calf takes her first strides into this transformed world, and the sensation startles her. Her feet sink deeper than she expects. Her balance wavers. The ground feels alive. But this softness is one of her most important teachers. Elephants learn their landscapes through their souls. Each foot contains thousands of sensory receptors, tiny, delicate instruments capable of detecting vibration, density, and subtle shifts in terrain. To the calf, this muddy world is full of new information. Every step becomes a conversation with the earth. She lifts her foot and watches the imprint fill slowly with rainwater. She steps again, leaving another small, wobbly signature. The mud cools her skin, clings to her legs, paints her in patterns that will flake away by evening. Her mother steps carefully ahead, creating shallow tracks for the calf to follow. Each print is a guide. Here is safe. Here is steady. Here's the way. The herd walks single file, a quiet procession across the damp plain. The matriarch leads, not with urgency, but with certainty. She knows where fresh water will gather. She knows which lowlands will flood, which clay patches will harden quickly, which slopes will turn slippery underfoot. The calf tries to follow her elders' footsteps, but their strides are long. Sometimes she ends up in deeper mud, prompting a gentle rescue. An aunt nudges her side. A sister braces her with a sturdy flank. Support arrives before she even has time to worry. Soft mud teaches resilience. Soft mud teaches trust. Soft mud teaches awareness. The calf stops to examine a frog that hops nearby, thrilled by the sudden abundance of puddles. She lowers her trunk toward it, nearly falling forward again. The frog escapes with a soft splash, and the calf lets out a surprised snort. As the herd continues, the squelching of feet creates a soothing rhythm, like slow drums played beneath the sky. The scent of wet vegetation rises in waves, mixing with the mineral smell of fresh clay. With each careful step, the calf memorizes the feeling of this place, the weight of her body in damp soil, the cool embrace of mud, the vibrations of her family moving ahead. These are more than physical sensations. They are the early threads of her internal map. Maps elephants carry for a lifetime. By sunset, the mud begins to firm. Her steps grow steadier. Her confidence grows too. And the day ends with the soft imprint of her footsteps drying under a sky streaked with silver clouds. The rains leave behind shimmering pools across the savanna. But the true gathering place, the one the herd seeks, is the waterhole, a broad, shallow basin where the earth curves inward like a cupped hand offering life. The calf approaches it for the first time, her trunk lifted, her ears perked, curiosity radiating from her entire small body. Waterholes are classrooms, and every elephant is both student and teacher. She watches her elders first. Some drink deeply, drawing water through their trunks, folding them into their mouths with practiced precision. Others splash, cooling their skin. A few wade in up to their knees, churning the mud to soften the ground. The calf tries to imitate them. She lowers her trunk toward the water, but misjudges the distance. The tip plunges in too far, surprising her with a nose full of cold water. She sneezes loudly, her first waterhole mistake. Her mother lowers her trunk beside her, demonstrating the slow inhale, the controlled raise, the gentle curl. The calf watches closely, then tries again. This time the technique is better, though she loses some water to the ground before it reaches her mouth. Every attempt is met with patience. Elephants know that learning takes time, and learning with the body takes even longer. Nearby, older calves play. They splash each other, roll in the shallows, and trumpet softly in excitement. The calf wants to join them, but her legs are still unsure. She steps into the water, slips slightly, and leans instantly into an ant's waiting side. Safety, support, confidence. These too are lessons of the waterhole. Predators also watch these places, but the herd stands strong. Adults form loose barriers, scanning the horizon, reading the language of birds and wind. The calf feels the security of their presence, even if she does not yet understand the instinct behind it. As she ventures deeper, cool mud squishes between her toes. A sensation so new she freezes, then relaxes into it. The water reflects the sky, soft blues, drifting clouds, the silhouettes of her family moving above her. She learns not just how to drink, but how to sense the world, the ripples made by her steps, the shimmer of insects skimming the surface, the distant rumble of thunder echoing across water like a memory returning. The waterhole is a mirror, a teacher, a gathering place of life. And on this first visit, the calf drinks not just water, but belonging. As the herd rests near the waterhole, the calf becomes aware of movement around them, creatures she has never seen before, or perhaps never noticed. The savanna is a wide neighborhood, and elephants live among many quiet watchers. Zebras graze at a respectful distance, their striped bodies shimmering against the green shoots brought by the rain. Their ears flick back and forth, always listening. The calf stares at them, puzzled. Why do they look like walking shadows? Why do their patterns shimmer when they move? Buffalo stand farther off, massive, dark, and stoic. Their horns curve like crescent moons. They are calm today, comfortable in the elephant's presence. The calf watches one snort softly, sending small plumes of vapor into the morning air. Giraffes drift nearby, bending their long necks to nibble at acacia leaves. To the calf, they seem impossibly tall, moving trees with gentle eyes. When a giraffe walks, its steps look like slow-motion poetry. Each species maintains its distance, a respectful spacing that the calf does not yet understand, but the adults do. This spacing is communication, a quiet agreement, a choreography shaped by instinct. We see you. We share this land. We keep peace through space. Birds are everywhere. Oxpeckers perched on buffalo backs, hornbills hopping near elephant feet, egrets gliding in pale arcs above the grass. Their calls weave through the air like threads of sound stitching the morning together. The calf steps forward, curious. Her movement startles a gazelle hidden in the tall grass. It leaps away in a graceful, bounding arc, fast and light, like a gust of wind made visible. Predators are present too, though distant. A pair of lions rests in the shade of a fallen log, watching the plains with quiet amber eyes. They are patient creatures, calculating, conserving energy. But today, with so many elephants grouped together, they make no move. The calf does not notice them, but the matriarch does. Her head lifts slightly, her ears widen. A silent check, a silent acknowledgement. Every animal the calf encounters becomes part of her map of the world. Who moves fast, who moves slowly, who avoids, who approaches, who watches. And all of them, every stripe, every hoof, every wing, teach her something about harmony. That survival in the wild is not only about strength, but awareness, observation, understanding one another's quiet language. As you listen, you may feel that same gentle awareness growing, a soft widening of attention, a calm observing. The savanna is full of watchers, and today, the calf becomes one of them. Morning deepens, and with it comes one of the calf's most important discoveries. The world is not only seen, it is smelled, it is felt, it is carried across the air like a drifting, invisible map. Her mother lifts her trunk and inhales deeply, tasting scents layered like stories, moisture from distant storms, the musk of passing antelope, the faint sourness of predators long gone, the warm, comforting scent of her own herd. The calf tries to imitate her. She raises her tiny trunk, curls it, uncurls it, then sneezes loudly. The herd rumbles, an amused, affectionate chorus that vibrates like a warm blanket across the ground. For elephants, scent is memory in motion. A trail left behind by footsteps, a whisper of danger carried on the wind, a reminder of water miles away. Every blade of grass, every patch of soil, every stone holds a different signature. Elephants can tell how long ago another animal passed by. They can tell whether a water hole is fresh or stagnant. They can even follow the scent of an old path their mothers walked decades before. The calf follows her mother's trunk movements, trying to understand. She sniffs a clump of grass, nothing. She sniffs again, still nothing except the faint taste of soil. But eventually, she catches a scent she recognizes, her mother's skin, warm and familiar. She chirps softly, delighted by the recognition. Her aunts continue teaching her without words, lifting their trunks, sampling the air, pausing when they sense something meaningful. The matriarch, older and wiser, does this with a grace the calf cannot comprehend yet. She can smell rain hours before it arrives. She can detect other herds long before their silhouettes appear on the horizon. She can sense the chemical changes in soil that reveal buried water. To the calf, this is magic. To the herd, it is survival. The savanna itself becomes a library of invisible messages, written not on paper, but in wind and dust. As you listen, imagine those layered scents drifting through the air. Cool morning grass, the mineral tang of damp earth, the sweet musk of acacia sap warmed by the sun. Breathing becomes an act of knowing. The calf lowers her trunk again, more slowly this time. The ground hums with faint vibrations beneath her feet. The scent of her family wraps around her like a soft, familiar echo. This is how elephants navigate. Through memory they smell, through stories carried on wind. And today, the calf breathes in her very first chapter. By midday, the savanna is warm again, and the herd moves toward a patch of dry, powdery soil, one of their favorite places. As soon as they arrive, the adults begin stirring up clouds of dust with slow, sweeping movements of their trunks. The calf watches, fascinated. Dust rises in golden plumes, floating like sunlit ghosts. The older elephants coat themselves deliberately, almost ceremonially. Dust is more than dirt. It is protection, it is comfort, it is medicine. The calf approaches a small mound and mimics what she sees. She scoops a trunkful of dust, but it spills before she can lift it. She tries again. The dust slips out just as quickly. Her trunk is still clumsy, but her determination is strong. An older sister steps close and demonstrates. A smooth scoop, a graceful lift, a gentle toss over the back. The calf tries again, tongue sticking out slightly with concentration. This time, a small puff of dust lands on her head. It isn't much, but it is hers. As the dust settles on her skin, it fills the spaces between wrinkles, creating a natural armor. It shields her from biting insects, protects her from the midday sun, keeps her skin healthy and cool. She feels the light weight of it, the soft dryness against her warm skin. It soothes her instantly. Aunties take turns dusting her more thoroughly, sending little clouds drifting over her back and sides. Each puff is a gesture of affection, a gentle contribution to her well-being. The matriarch dusts herself last. Her movements are unhurried, graceful despite her age. She has done this thousands of times, long enough to understand that wisdom often lives in small rituals repeated across years. The calf walks through the dust cloud, glowing in the hot sun. Particles dance in the air around her. She sneezes once, then lets the warmth settle. Dust bathing is one of the first lessons in elephant self-care. To protect yourself gently, to soothe yourself naturally, to trust the earth to provide what your body needs. As the herd finishes, their skin glows in muted shades of gold and brown. The calf stands among them, lightly powdered, a tiny echo of her elders, and the savanna, warm and bright, seems to hum with approval. As the day stretches into its warmest hours, the herd gathers beneath a wide acacia, whose branches spread like an ancient canopy. Here, the calf learns about the quiet authority at the heart of elephant life, the matriarch. She is older than any other elephant in the group. Her skin carries stories like carved riverbeds. Her tusks curve with the slow grace of decades. But what the calf notices most is her presence. The matriarch does not command with force. She guides with calm, steady certainty. Her shadow falls long across the ground, and it is within this shade that the calf begins to understand leadership, not as dominance, but as memory. When the calf approaches her for the first time without her mother beside her, the matriarch lowers her head slightly and extends her trunk. The calf leans into it, sensing the deep rumble that vibrates through her skin. It feels like someone humming a lullaby she somehow already knows. This rumble is not casual. It is communication layered with meaning. I see you. I accept you. You are part of us. Younger females watch closely. They too learned beneath this same shade how to read the earth, how to choose when to move, how to find water even in lean seasons. The calf sits heavily on her hindquarters, tired from the day's lessons. The matriarch remains still, standing guard, her gaze slowly sweeping the horizon. She listens to the silence, to distant bird calls, to shifting winds, to vibrations underfoot. Her wisdom is not loud, it is not hurried, it is not complicated. It is simply the result of time. Time spent surviving droughts, time spent guiding young, time spent remembering. The herd depends on this memory as much as they depend on water. It is the map that leads them through seasons, the compass that keeps them from wandering into danger. The calf dozes briefly in the shade, her breathing slow, her body warm and safe. The matriarch does not move. Even in rest, she protects. As you listen, imagine standing in that same long shade, a place where decisions are made gently, where strength feels calm, where wisdom flows quietly through the air like dust catching light. The calf wakes to the soft touch of her mother's trunk. The herd shifts. The shadows lengthen across the ground, and the matriarch's presence remains, steady, patient, the silent pillar upon which the entire herd rests. Late afternoon settles into a warm stillness. Shadows grow long across the savanna, turning golden grasses into a sea of slow-moving fire, and in that quiet, deep, warm, deceptively peaceful, the oldest instinct hums beneath the surface. The calf's ears flick. She pauses. Something in the wind feels different. A lioness is watching. Not close, far enough that no danger touches the herd, but close enough that the matriarch lifts her massive head, listening with her whole body. Her ears widen like sails. Her trunk hovers slightly above the ground. A low, almost inaudible rumble passes through her chest. The herd hears it, and they shift without panic, without haste, forming the ancient shape elephants have made for thousands of years, a living circle. The calves stand inside, protected by a ring of mothers, sisters, and aunts. The adults face outward, calm, silent, immovable. The calf does not understand the reason for the sudden formation, but she feels the change. She feels the shift in posture, the deepened breathing, the careful stillness. She presses closer to her mother, who rests her trunk reassuringly over the calf's back. The lioness remains in the tall grass, watching with amber eyes. She does not move closer. She does not stalk. She simply waits, conserving energy, calculating possibilities. There are none today. Not with so many elephants, not with so much unity, not with the matriarch standing firm like a rooted tree. Danger, in the elephant world, is not met with fear. It is met with awareness. A rumble travels through the herd, a quiet conversation spoken through rib cages and soil. Stay calm. Stay together. We are safe. The calf looks toward the horizon, but the lioness is hidden. She sees only the shimmering grass, the bending acacias, the warm haze of dust rising in the sun's fading light. Minutes pass. The lioness stands, stretches, and walks away without sound, her tawny body dissolving into the evening. The matriarch waits a long moment more, listening for the vibrations left behind. Satisfied, she releases a softer rumble. The herd shifts again, loosening formation, relaxing shoulders, lowering trunks back toward the earth. The calf steps out of the circle, unaware she has just experienced one of nature's oldest dances, a rhythm of watchfulness, unity, and quiet confidence. Elephants do not fear what they understand, and they understand predators intimately. The savanna exhales, the herd moves on, and the calf, sheltered by the collective strength around her, learns one of her quietest early lessons. Safety is shaped not by the absence of danger, but by the presence of togetherness. Evening begins to stretch across the savanna, and with it comes a new teacher, the wind. It arrives softly at first, brushing against acacia leaves with a cool whisper. The calf lifts her trunk and sniffs, sensing something she cannot name, something ancient, something directional, something that carries memory. The adults know this wind. They've felt it many times before. A wind that signals rain is gathering somewhere far away. A wind that remembers storms that have not yet arrived. The matriarch stands tall, tasting the breeze. Her ears widen. Her eyes soften into distance. She can read the air as if it were a familiar book, one written in moisture, ions, and faint scents pulled from miles upon miles of landscape. Elephants can detect rain from incredible distances, sometimes up to 200 kilometers away. The wind tells them where to go long before thunder paints the sky. The calf watches as the herd subtly changes their posture, not stopping, not hurrying, but orienting themselves toward a direction that feels right. Her mother nudges her gently, guiding her to follow. Under her feet, the ground vibrates faintly with distant hoofbeats. Above her, clouds begin to gather like slow-moving mountains. The wind grows stronger, threading coolness through her warm skin. She sneezes at the sudden rush of scents: wet leaves, distant water, charged air, and something metallic and bright that signals a coming storm. The herd begins walking, each step measured and certain. Not because the storm is dangerous, but because storms bring life, new waterholes, fresh shoots of grass, the return of green. The calf's ears flap uncontrollably in the rising wind. She stumbles once, laughing in her own small way, a tiny trumpet of surprise. Her older sister steadies her with a quick side bump. As they walk, dust rises behind them in a soft trail. Birds fly low, sensing the shift. The horizon darkens, not ominously, but beautifully, a giant curtain preparing to reveal the next season. The wind is not only a message, it is a bridge between present and future. It tells elephants when to move, when to rest, when to trust their instincts. The calf presses closer to her mother, feeling the rhythm of her breathing as the wind threads through their bodies like a cool, steady hum. And as the first distant rumble echoes across the sky, she learns, for the very first time, that nature speaks long before it rains. When the storm finally arrives, it sweeps across the savanna in a great curtain of shimmering rain. Lightning flickers softly behind clouds, and thunder murmurs like a slow heartbeat. By the time the sky's clear, the land is transformed. Pools of warm water gather in shallow dips. Clay turns smooth and sticky, and elephants move toward one of their most beloved rituals, the mud bath. The calf follows eagerly, still damp from the rain. She watches as older elephants step into a wide patch of soft mud, their massive feet sinking deep. They sway their bodies, coating their sides and bellies with thick layers of cooling clay. Mud, for elephants, is medicine. It cools their skin, protects against sunburn, repels biting insects, and soothes small wounds or scrapes earned during daily life. The calf steps into the mud and immediately slips. Her legs splay in 4 directions. She flops sideways with an unmistakable thump, sending a splash of mud into the air. The herd rumbles in affectionate amusement. Her mother helps her up with a gentle hook of her trunk. Then she demonstrates slow steps, steady weight, a careful shift of energy. The calf tries again. She manages to stay upright for 2 full seconds before sliding again. But something changes the 3rd time. As she wobbles forward, the mud coats her legs and belly, cooling her skin. She pauses, feels it, accepts it. Her body relaxes into the sensation. Soon she's using her trunk, awkwardly but intently, to scoop mud and drop it onto her back. Most of it misses, hitting her face instead. But a little lands where it's supposed to, and she chirps softly in triumph. Older siblings join her, rolling in the mud like overgrown children. Their trumpets echo softly across the wet savanna. Even the matriarch lowers herself into the mud with deliberate grace, her massive body sinking into the healing earth as if easing into warm waters. Mud connects elephants to the land more intimately than anything else. It carries the scent of minerals, the memory of rain, the cooling touch of earth itself. The calf stands coated now, patchy, messy, content. The mud dries on her skin like a protective shell, turning her young gray hide into mottled shades of brown. She steps out, heavier but calmer, walking with the slow confidence of one who knows the ground is here to heal her. In mud, she discovers something she will return to all her life: comfort shaped by earth, healing shaped by ritual, and a calmness that only nature can give. After the rains and mud baths, the herd moves toward one of the quiet sanctuaries of the savanna, the salt lick. It is a place where the earth opens its mineral-rich skin, offering nutrients that elephants cannot find in leaves or grass alone. The calf doesn't know why the adults are so eager, but she feels the shift in their energy, the confident pace, the sense of purpose. The ground here is different, paler, smoother, worn down by generations of hooves and tusks. The air smells faintly sharp, like stone warmed by sun, touched with the tang of minerals rising through cracks in the soil. Adults begin using their trunks and tusks to scrape at the surface, uncovering soft clay rich with sodium, calcium, and other essential elements. The calf watches, fascinated, as her older sister scoops a trunkful of pale earth and places it delicately into her mouth. Curious, the calf attempts the same. She taps at the ground. Her trunk curves awkwardly. She gathers a tiny bit of clay, mostly dust, and tastes it. Her face scrunches. She sneezes. The herd rumbles with quiet amusement. But soon she tries again. This time she gathers a better mouthful, earthy, chalky, surprisingly pleasant. It smooths over her tongue, grounding her in a new, unexpected way. Salt licks are nature's pharmacy. They strengthen bones, support nerves, balance nutrients, even guide migrations. Herds return to these places year after year, remembering them as faithfully as they remember waterholes. As adults scrape deeper into the soil, the calf observes the ritual, the patience, the precision, the slow reverence for what the earth offers. Birds gather nearby, pecking at disturbed insects. A warthog family snuffles at the edges. Even butterflies dance around the exposed minerals, drawn to the moisture that seeps up from underground. The calf steps closer to her mother, who gently guides her trunk to a specific patch of clay, finer, softer, richer. The calf tastes it and chirps with delight. She has learned something new, that food comes not only from grass, but also from earth itself. The matriarch lifts her head, coated trunk dusty and pale. Her posture is serene, grateful, as if remembering the many seasons she has stood in this same spot. Salt licks remind elephants that survival is partnership between body and land, between present needs and ancient knowledge. As the calf finishes her small mineral feast, she leans into her mother's leg, grounded by both nourishment and belonging. And the earth, generous as always, waits quietly for their return. As twilight settles, the savanna transforms into a world of sound. Colors fade into muted blues, but voices grow louder, soft, rhythmic, ancient. The herd begins its nighttime walk along familiar paths, carved by the footsteps of ancestors long gone. The calf is drowsy but alert, her senses awakening to the music of night. Crickets pulse in thick waves. Frogs croak from newly formed puddles. Owls glide with silent wings, their soft hoots drifting like distant lullabies. A chorus of cicadas rises and falls, creating a steady hum that vibrates in the warm, dark air. For elephants, the night is not frightening. It is a time for cooler walks, deeper listening, and quiet connection. The path beneath their feet feels different than during the day, softer, cooler. The ground retains the memory of sun, but only faintly. The calf steps carefully, her ears brushing against her mother's belly as she stays close. The adults communicate with low-frequency rumbles, so deep they vibrate through the earth rather than the air. The calf feels them before she hears them, a gentle shaking under her feet, a soothing tremor along her spine. These rumbles keep the herd connected across the dark. A mother can speak to her child half a kilometer away. A matriarch can guide her family without raising her voice. Night becomes a tapestry, woven from vibrations and trust. As they walk, fireflies drift between the grasses, tiny stars glowing just above the ground. The calf tries to follow one, enchanted by its slow, pulsing light. Her mother gently redirects her before she wanders too far. The stars emerge above the plains, brilliant, countless, sharp against the vast sky. Elephants may not gaze upward with human wonder, but they know the night as a map. Cool breezes, settled dust, calmer predators, paths lit by memory rather than vision. In the distance, hyenas laugh, not sinister, but simply part of the night's chorus. Frogs answer. Insects rise again. All around, life continues its endless rhythm. The calf walks with her family, safe within the moving circle of bodies. Her breathing syncs with the soft crunch of grass underfoot, the distant rumblings of relatives, the low sigh of wind brushing over her skin. Tonight, she learns that darkness is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is sound. It is the world exhaling, and step by step she begins to memorize the night's quiet music. As midnight drifts across the savanna, the calf notices something she cannot yet explain. The earth is speaking, not loudly, not with urgency, but with deep, steady vibrations that roll beneath her feet like soft thunder. Elephants communicate in frequencies so low that humans cannot hear them, infrasound that travels through ground and air for miles. To the calf, these vibrations feel like gentle waves brushing against her body. Her mother emits one now, a low rumble, hardly audible, but powerful in meaning. Stay close. I see you. You belong. The calf responds instinctively with a tiny chirp, high-pitched, uncertain, but earnest. The herd replies with warm vibrations, acknowledging her small voice. Communication for elephants is not just sound. It is touch, body language, breath, ground tremors, heartbeats sinking in the quiet. The matriarch stands still for a moment, sending out a long, resonant rumble that spreads through the soil like a slow-moving ripple. The adults pause, listening not with their ears, but with their feet. The calf watches in amazement. How can something so quiet feel so strong? She presses her foot lightly into the earth. She feels an answering vibration, a rumble from a distant ant, reassuring, welcoming. Her trunk vibrates faintly as the air carries another message. We move soon. Stay ready. Stay calm. Elephants speak far more at night than many realize. They coordinate movement, check on relatives, share emotional states, warn each other of distant disturbances. The calf attempts a small rumble. Nothing comes out. She tries again, just air. On the third try, a tiny wobbly trill escapes her. The herd reacts instantly, rumbling back in celebration of her first attempt. The vibrations wash over her like warm water. She chirps loudly, delighted. She is learning not just a language, but a connection. As she practices, the savanna settles deeper into night. Predators quiet. Wind softens. The world rests in a calm, resonant hum. The calf leans against her mother, feeling the gentle vibrations pass between them, messages of love, safety, presence. Tonight, the ground itself becomes her teacher, and in its quiet tremors, she hears her first true words of the elephant world. Dawn finds the herd already on the move. Their silhouettes stretch across the pale morning light, long and graceful, as they begin their first true journey of the season, the migration along paths older than memory itself. The calf, still young and unsure, walks in the protective middle of the herd. Her steps are uneven, but the adults adjust around her, slowing slightly, spacing themselves, shaping their formation to carry her gently forward. Elephants follow routes passed down through generations, not written, not spoken, but carried in the minds of matriarchs who remember droughts from decades before, rains from seasons gone, and water holes that appear only after long storms. The calf doesn't know these paths yet, but she can feel them. Beneath her feet, the ground is firm in some places, soft in others, signs of old migrations carved into the savanna's skin. She watches as her mother steps carefully, each foot landing with familiar precision. The matriarch moves ahead, scanning the horizon with wise, time-worn eyes. The air carries a faint scent of distant moisture, a whisper of acacia sap, a trace of minerals rising through dry soil. These subtle signals guide elephants like stars guide sailors. The herd walks through tall grasses, brushing against their legs in long golden strokes. Every few minutes, adults pause to listen, to the wind, to the earth's vibration, to the unspoken rhythm that tells them they are on the right path. The calf mimics their pauses. She stops, lifts her trunk, breathes in deeply. Mostly she smells dust, but sometimes, just sometimes, she senses something familiar, like a faint echo of the days before. Birds follow the herd, swooping low, feeding on insects stirred up by their massive feet. Butterflies drift in loose spirals through shafts of morning sunlight. A family of warthogs scurries ahead, glancing back before disappearing into the brush. The calf stumbles once on a root hidden beneath the grass. Her mother steadies her. A cousin leans close, offering soft reassurance. This is how elephants travel, not as individuals seeking their own way, but as a single, breathing unit. By midday, the path becomes more defined. Old footprints, some from seasons past, dot the hardening ground. The matriarch pauses at one, lowering her trunk to smell it. It is her own, from years ago. The calf watches her with admiration she cannot yet name. Ancient paths do more than guide elephants to water. They connect past to present, memory to instinct, generation to generation. And today, the calf takes her first steps into that long, unbroken story. Weeks pass, and the savanna begins to change again. Slowly at first, grass losing some of its lushness, waterholes shrinking at their edges. Then more quickly, heat intensifying, soil cracking, winds turning warmer and drier. The dry season is arriving. For adults, this is familiar. For the calf, it is a new test, a shift in the world she must learn to understand. The days grow hotter, stretching long beneath an unyielding sun. Shade becomes precious, water becomes memory, and the herd must walk farther each day, guided by the matriarch's knowledge of hidden, long-forgotten pools. The calf feels the change in her own small body. Her steps slow. Her tongue feels dry. The air tastes different, less sweet, more metallic. But she also feels something else, the unbroken calm of the herd. They do not panic. They do not rush. They move with patience shaped by thousands of dry seasons before this one. Her mother encourages her forward with gentle nudges. Aunts and cousins take turns walking beside her, so she feels safe, supported, watched over. During the hottest hours, they stop beneath the skeletal shade of acacia trees. The air shimmers. Insects rest in silence. Even the wind seems to pause, too warm to move. The adults show her how to conserve energy, standing still, breathing slowly, flapping their ears to cool their blood. She copies them, though her small ears flutter more comically than effectively. Still, they keep her cool enough. At night, the herd moves more, traveling long distances under the moon's pale light, the ground cooler beneath their feet, the sky stretching open like a quiet invitation. Predators are more active during the dry season, but hunger sharpens their focus on weaker animals far from the protection of their groups. The elephants remain together, vigilant and strong. One evening, the calf smells water, faint, distant, carried on the night breeze like a secret. Her mother rumbles softly. The matriarch leads with certainty. They reach a shrinking water hole, its edges muddy and cracked. The adults drink carefully. The calf steps in too eagerly, slipping slightly, then recovering. Her mother steadies her again. Despite the dryness, there is still life here. Frogs burrowing into the mud, birds pecking at insects, a faint hum of resilience rising from the earth. The calf learns that seasons are not obstacles. They are cycles. Moments of challenge that shape the memory of every elephant. And in the dry heat of her first challenging season, she discovers the quiet power of endurance. As the dry season deepens, the calf begins noticing something she has never paid attention to before. The stillness of old bones scattered across the savanna, sun-bleached rib cages, smooth ivory curves, leg bones shaped like ancient pillars. To her young eyes, they are puzzles, mysterious, silent objects left behind by creatures she'll never meet. She approaches them with curiosity, sniffing gently, brushing them with her trunk. Her mother watches her closely, not with fear, but with quiet reverence. Elephants treat the bones of their kind with a tenderness found in few other species. When they encounter the remains of an elephant, they pause, they touch, they remember. It is not grief in the human way, but recognition, a deep stirring of something ancestral. The matriarch steps forward now, her trunk tracing the outline of a skull older than the calf's entire life. She lingers, her breath soft, her eyes half closed. The herd gathers around her in a loose semicircle, silent. The calf senses the shift. She stands close to her mother, watching as each adult elephant touches the bones in turn, not out of sadness, but out of respect. Scientists have documented this behavior for decades, but no explanation captures its emotional weight. Elephants remember places of loss. They revisit the sites where old matriarchs died. They recognize the scent of bones even years later. It is as if the land stores memories and the herd retrieves them gently, slowly, without words. The calf steps forward and touches a small piece of ivory. It is smooth, cool, somehow familiar, though she does not understand why. Her mother rests her trunk over the calf's back, a soft reassurance and a silent lesson. Life is long, death is natural, memory is a bridge between them. They linger only a few minutes. The savanna is too demanding to allow long pauses. But those minutes are enough, a moment of stillness in a world that is always moving. As they walk away, the calf looks back once. The bones lie quiet, holding sunlight, holding stories. She doesn't know it yet, but someday she will stand where her elders stood, touching ivory worn smooth by time, passing memory forward in the only way elephants can, through gentle contact, through presence, through a lineage of remembering held in bone and earth. As the season stretches on, the calf begins to notice a pattern, not in the land, but in her family. Nothing they do is rushed. Nothing is frantic. Their movement carries a gentleness that feels almost like a story told in slow motion. Elephants are giants of patience. When they walk, their weight shifts like rolling hills. When they graze, their trunks move with deliberate care, selecting grasses one quiet mouthful at a time. Even their play, though spirited, has a softness beneath it, a rhythm that seems to echo the steady pulse of the earth. The calf learns this simply by being near them. She watches her mother graze, each motion fluid and unhurried. She watches her older sister use her trunk to pluck leaves with elegant precision. She watches the matriarch pause before each decision, listening not just to her surroundings, but to something deeper, an inner knowing shaped by decades of weather, scarcity, and survival. Over time, the calf begins to mirror this slowness. She walks more steadily. She pauses more often. She lets moments stretch instead of rushing through them. Scientists often describe elephants as masters of energetic efficiency, but that phrase misses the beauty of what the calf feels. Their slowness is not only efficient, it is poetic. It is a way of honoring the land they move through. The savanna responds to this pace. Birds hop calmly between their legs. Antelope graze nearby unafraid. Even the wind seems to match their rhythm. One afternoon, as the herd rests under a scattering of acacias, the calf lies against her mother's side, feeling the steady rise and fall of her breath. Each inhale is deep, grounding. Each exhale is like a soft release, warm and reassuring. She realizes, without thinking, that this is the rhythm she trusts most. The rhythm she will carry with her long after she grows tall and strong. Slowness becomes her comfort, her inheritance, her language. A small breeze lifts the dust around them. Shadows shift with the passing of clouds. The world moves, but never in a hurry. In the quiet of this warm afternoon, the calf learns something she will keep for life. That there is power in moving gently, that there is wisdom in waiting, and that sometimes the truest strength is the strength that never needs to rush. As the herd continues its slow migration, the calf becomes increasingly aware of something remarkable. The earth is not silent. With each step, she feels subtle tremors traveling up her legs, not enough to alarm her, but enough to make her pause and listen. She presses her foot more firmly into the ground, curious. Elephants are masters of seismic communication. They can feel thunderstorms from miles away. They can sense the footsteps of running animals long before they appear. They can even detect the low-frequency calls of distant herds through vibrations that travel beneath the soil. The calf does not understand this yet, but she senses it, like a quiet murmur beneath her skin. Her mother demonstrates without words. She stops, lifting her foot slightly, then placing it down with intention. Her trunk lowers to the ground. Her eyes close. She is listening. A faint vibration hums beneath them. Not danger, not urgency, just another herd, far away, also moving through the world with gentle purpose. The calf leans closer, imitating her mother's posture. She places her tiny foot on the earth, feels the faintest quiver, a tremble like a heartbeat hidden underground. Her eyes widen, astonished. The matriarch joins them, her presence grounding and calm. She presses her trunk to the soil, a gesture older than memory. Elephants have done this for thousands of years, reading the land the way others read the sky. Wind carries scent, earth carries vibration. Together, they form a map far richer than sight alone. As the calf practices, she becomes attuned to these subtle messages, the rhythm of approaching rain, the distant thump of hooves, the steady movement of her own family spreading through the earth like soft thunder. Birds flutter around them, pecking the ground for insects stirred by their footsteps. The air is warm and fragrant with sun-baked soil and crushed grass. Shadows of clouds drift across the savanna in slow, dark shapes. The calf rests her trunk on the ground one more time. A slight tremor moves toward them, the echo of elephants walking somewhere beyond the horizon. Her mother rumbles softly. The calf chirps in reply. It is their first conversation not carried by air, but by earth. In this moment, she learns that the land is a living drum, one that speaks in vibrations, one that remembers everything that passes over it, one that connects all elephants in ways deeper than sound. And as she lifts her foot again, she feels the world answering back. In the unfolding calm of early evening, the calf starts noticing patterns, not just in individuals, but in the herd as a whole. There is something deliberate, unified, almost orchestral about the way they move. Elephants are not just social animals. They are thinkers, problem solvers, beings who understand cooperation in ways both practical and emotional. Today, a fallen tree blocks the herd's path, a massive trunk, stripped smooth by sun and time. The calf approaches it first, tapping the bark with her trunk. It does not move. She tries climbing over it and slips back down. Her mother observes quietly. Then, a younger ant joins, examining the tree from different angles. The matriarch steps forward last, surveying the obstacle with slow, thoughtful eyes. Without a single spoken command, the herd responds. Two strong females position themselves on one side. Another stands behind the calf, keeping her safe. A young bull braces his shoulder against the trunk. They push, not frantically, not forcefully, but steadily. The tree shifts, soil loosens, the trunk rolls just enough to create a clear path. The calf squeaks in delight and hurries through, celebrated by a chorus of approving rumbles. This quiet problem solving is a common symphony in elephant life. They help injured members stand. They dig for water together in dry riverbeds. They protect calves not by instinct alone, but by shared responsibility. The calf soon notices smaller, subtler intelligence as well. Her older sister shades the calf with her body when the sun grows too hot. A cousin gently pulls thorny branches aside so little ones can pass without injury. The matriarch pauses before each major decision, waiting for the herd to gather, ensuring consensus through shared rumbling before moving on. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is impulsive. Their intelligence is woven with patience. As dusk deepens, the herd approaches a narrow ravine. The matriarch inspects it carefully. The ground is loose. A poor crossing. She steps back, choosing a safer route. The herd follows without hesitation, trusting her not because of dominance, but because of proven wisdom. The calf observes all of this from the center, a safe cocoon of knowledge passed down without a single spoken word. In this gentle evening light, she learns that intelligence is not always loud or quick. Sometimes it is soft, steady, and shared. An unspoken agreement that every life in the herd matters. With each passing month, the calf begins to understand that the world is not one place, but many, each shaped by the shifting moods of the seasons. The savanna never stays the same. It transforms in slow, sweeping breaths, shaping every creature who calls it home. The rainy season paints the land green and lush, grass rising in tall waves, rivers swelling with fresh, cool water. The calf remembers her first rains, their joy, their surprise, their gentle chaos. But now the dry season holds the land in a different kind of embrace, one made of patience, endurance, and long stretches of waiting. The grass grows pale. Dust hangs in the air like soft fog. Trees stand still, conserving what little water rests in their roots. At first, these contrasts confuse the calf. Why does the earth give so generously one month and offer so little the next? Her mother answers not with sound, but with example. During the lush months, she eats more, rests more, plays more. During the dry months, she slows her pace, saves her energy, seeks shade more often. The calf learns to mirror this rhythm. She discovers that her body feels different in each season. Lighter in the rain, heavier in the heat, more grounded during the cool nights of the transitional months. Seasons become teachers. Rain teaches gratitude. Drought teaches resilience. Cool evenings teach rest. Warm mornings teach motion. The matriarch carries all these lessons in her bones. She knows where to go when seasons shift, how deep to dig for water, which grasses survive drought, which pathways bring the herd back to abundance. One evening, as the sun melts into a warm amber glow, the calf lies beside her mother and watches dust drift across the horizon. The air smells of dry grass and faint minerals. The world feels slower, quieter, vast. In that stillness, she begins to sense something profound, that the seasons do more than change the land, they change her too. Her body strengthens with each cycle, her senses sharpen, her instincts deepen. She begins to understand that the wild shapes every creature not in sudden leaps, but in gentle tides, rising and falling, arriving and leaving, returning and returning again. By the time stars appear, the calf is drowsy, wrapped in the calm wisdom of nature's pacing, and in her slow, steady breathing, you can hear the quiet truth of all wild lives, that who we become is shaped by the seasons we survive. As the calf grows older, she begins to feel a subtle shift, not just in her body, but in the quiet spaces of her mind. Memories begin to accumulate, soft as dust and just as persistent. Elephants are renowned for their memory, though not in the sharp human sense. Their memories live in sensations, in landscapes, in the way the wind smelled on days of joy or fear. The calf's earliest memories come back to her unexpectedly. The cool splash of her first rain, the laughter-like rumbles of siblings at play, the protective circle formed when lions watched from the tall grass. These recollections sit gently within her, shaping her responses without her even noticing. One morning, she encounters a patch of earth that feels oddly familiar. Her feet pause on it. A faint vibration echoes beneath the soil. Her mother stops too, a place they visited before. The memory rises, not as words or images, but as a feeling, a sense of calm, a sense of safety, a recognition that the land remembers her, and she remembers the land. She begins to understand that her mother's knowledge, those instinctive turns across the savanna, those pauses before choosing a path, are not random. They are memories passed down through years of survival. Elephants revisit old grave sites, old waterholes, old trees that once offered shade in desperate seasons. The calf sees this now. One day, the herd pauses near a fallen acacia. Its bark is peeling, its branches skeletal. The matriarch touches it gently with her trunk, lingering as if greeting an old friend. This tree once sheltered calves now grown, once fed mothers who have long since passed, once stood tall in storms that shaped entire migrations. The calf watches, absorbing the moment. She feels the quiet reverence of her elders. She feels the connection to a past she never lived. Memory is not heavy for elephants, but it is deep. It guides, it warns, it comforts. As the herd moves on, the calf glances back. The fallen tree stands alone, golden in the rising sun. And she realizes something, that the world holds pieces of her story even before she grows old enough to understand them. Her memories will not be stored in a single moment, but scattered across landscapes, woven into paths, carried in scents, held in vibrations. The gentle weight of memory is not a burden, it is a compass. The journey eventually brings the herd to a familiar river, one that appears thin and quiet during the dry season, but deepens and widens with the rains. The calf approaches its banks with anticipation. She remembers this place from months ago, the rush of cool water, the thrill of splashing, the the soft mud beneath her feet like warm clay. But today, the river is low, moving lazily under the morning sun. Her mother steps into the shallows first, drinking slowly, her trunk dipping in and out with careful rhythm. The calf imitates her, but impatience gets the best of her. She jabs her trunk into the water too quickly, scoops too fast, sends droplets flying everywhere. She tries again and again. Each attempt becomes a blur of splashes and tiny frustrated squeaks. Her older sister watches with amused patience, then demonstrates. Slow inhale, gentle lift, steady release. The calf tries once more, slowing herself, feeling the coolness of the water as it fills her trunk. This time, she succeeds. A mouthful reaches her tongue, crisp and refreshing. Patience rewarded. The river holds many lessons. It teaches timing, when to drink, when to wade, when to wait. Elephants know that rushing the water yields nothing but confusion, but approaching it with calm brings clarity. The matriarch wades deeper, her massive legs steady against the gentle current. She listens to the river the way she listens to the wind, not with ears, but with instinct. She knows when the river is rising, when it is falling, when the flow signals rain upstream or drought downstream. The calf plays now, splashing water onto her back, curling her trunk around reeds and letting them slip through her grip. A fish darts by, startling her. She jumps, then laughs in her own elephant way, a sharp chirp followed by an enthusiastic trumpet. Nearby, an older elephant uses her tusks to dig into the riverbank, revealing wetter, cooler soil beneath. The calf watches in fascination. This is another hidden lesson, that patience can uncover what haste cannot. The herd lingers long at the river, drinking, bathing, resting. Time moves differently near water, slower, kinder, more reflective. As they prepare to leave, the calf looks back at the shimmering surface. The river seems to breathe in and out, steady as a heartbeat, and she realizes something simple and profound. Water gives, water waits, water teaches, and those who listen learn how to move with life's quiet current. As seasons turn and migrations continue, the calf slowly begins understanding a truth that every elephant discovers in time. Home is not one place, it is many. It is the shaded grove where she took her first steps. It is the water hole where she learned to drink. It is the river where she splashed mud across her back. It is the path carved by her mother's footsteps and the trail shaped by ancestors she will never meet. Elephants return to the same places again and again, not out of habit, but out of connection. Places hold memory, and memory holds them. Today, the herd revisits a familiar glade, its acacia branches stretching wide over a patch of soft, cool earth. The calf feels something stir inside her, a sense of recognition. She doesn't know how she remembers this spot. There are no clear images, no distinct recollections, just a feeling, comfort, belonging, a quiet settling of the heart. Her elders greet the landscape like an old friend. They rub against trees whose bark still bears faint marks from tusks long ago. They pause near termite mounds that once provided shade during scorching afternoons. They drink from a shallow pool, now smaller than before, but still remembered. Her mother nudges the calf toward a specific cluster of shrubs. Here, the calf had once hidden during a sudden summer storm. She doesn't consciously recall it, but the faint scent of the earth triggers a softness in her chest. The matriarch stands still at the edge of the glade, her eyes moving slowly across the familiar land. She remembers droughts survived here, births welcomed here, losses mourned here. For elephants, home is not about walls or boundaries. It is a tapestry woven from scents, paths, sounds, and earth textures. Places become chapters in their internal map. The calf explores, touching leaves, stepping over old roots, circling worn stones. Every corner of the glade feels like rediscovery, like meeting a memory she didn't know she carried. As the sun sets, the herd settles together, younger elephants leaning into their elders, older ones resting heavily, breathing slow, shared breaths. The calf nestles against her mother's side. The air smells of dust and acacia sap, warm and familiar. She understands now in the quiet way elephants do that home is not something you leave behind. You carry it with you, in your feet, in your senses, in the soft remembering of landscapes that shaped you. The moon rises, the glade sleeps, and the calf dreams of paths she has walked and paths she is yet to learn. Night returns gently, spreading across the savanna like a soft blanket of blue. The calf, now older and steadier, walks beside her mother as the herd moves through the cooling grasses. The stars shimmer above, their distant light brushing the land with quiet silver. And without warning, the first question of our journey drifts back into the air. What does an elephant remember across a lifetime? The calf does not seek the answer. She lives it. Memory for elephants is not a list of facts. It is not a story told in order. It is something woven deeper, felt through the earth, held in scent, carried in the body like a second heartbeat. Tonight, as the herd moves quietly beneath the rising moon, the calf begins sensing memories not of her own making. Paths walked by generations, waterholes known before she was born, storms her elders survived long before her first breath, trees whose shade held families she will never meet. She understands now that memory isn't simply recollection. It is belonging. It is continuation. It is the invisible thread that ties her life to the lives that came before. The matriarch pauses at a familiar rise in the land, listening with her feet, her trunk, her entire being. She remembers rain that once soaked this place. She remembers a calf born beneath the nearby acacia, a flood that carved a path through the lowlands, a long drought that nearly reshaped their entire migration. The calf watches her, feeling the weight of that silent knowing, not heavy, not burdensome, just deep. She senses that she will one day carry the same quiet knowledge, that memory will guide her steps, shape her choices, and whisper where to find water in times of need. The herd continues moving, their steps slow, their rumbles soft enough to blend with the night wind. As you listen, you too might feel that gentle truth settling in your mind, that memory is not always sharp or clear. Sometimes it is simply presence, a feeling of being connected to something larger than yourself. The first question lingers in the air, and for the calf, the answer grows softly within her. Elephants remember not to hold on, but to know the way forward. The sky deepens into a darker blue, and the savanna begins its slow descent into night. Shadows stretch long and then soften, losing their edges as dusk becomes quiet, velvety darkness. The herd gathers close, forming a gentle crescent of protection and warmth. The calf settles near her mother, feeling the familiar rise and fall of steady breaths. Night on the savanna isn't silence, it is softness. Crickets pulse in even rhythms, their song a steady backdrop. A river whispers in the distance, Leaves rustle with the faintest touch of wind. Hyenas laugh far away, not threatening, just adding to the quiet tapestry of nocturnal life. The calf's eyelids droop and lift in a slow, drowsy dance. Older elephants shift their weight, sighing deeply, a sound that feels like the earth exhaling. The matriarch performs her nightly ritual, stepping a short distance away to listen to the land before sleep, to the tremors of distant movement, to the changing wind, to the stillness settling like dew. Everything slows. Even predators move more cautiously, their steps light and measured. Even the stars seem to drift more gently across the wide open sky. The calf leans into her mother, her warm body a comforting anchor. She feels safe, cradled not by walls but by presence, living, breathing, watchful presence. The herd begins to rest in standing positions, some leaning against sturdy trees, others supporting one another with familiar closeness. For elephants, rest is a shared act. Safety is communal. Calmness spreads from one body to another like ripples across a moonlit pond. The calf listens to the night, to insects, to wind, to the low, barely audible hum of her family. Her breathing slows, matching the gentle rhythm around her. She feels the world settling, the heat of day easing out of her skin, the coolness of the night wrapping softly around her. As sleep approaches, something inside her shifts, a quiet acceptance that night is not an ending, but a returning to calm, a returning to stillness, a returning to the slow, soothing pulse of the wild. And as she drifts into the soft edges of sleep, the night drifts with her, a long exhale settling across the savanna. As the night deepens, temperatures fall in gentle, almost affectionate degrees. The savanna cools, releasing the heat it held all day, and the air turns still and soothing. This is the time when elephants draw nearer, not out of fear, but out of an ancient longing for togetherness. The calf feels it before she fully understands it, a subtle shift in the pattern of movement, a slow tightening of the semicircle, a feeling deep in her chest of belonging pulling her inward. Her mother steps closer, touching her trunk lightly to the calf's cheek. An aunt nudges up beside them. Older siblings press in, forming a layered crescent of warm, living bodies. The calf is safe, warm, surrounded. Elephants gather close at night not only to protect their calves, but to share emotional comfort. They are deeply social beings, creatures who lean into one another, literally and metaphorically, in both abundance and hardship. The matriarch takes her place at the outer curve, her tall form silhouetted against the soft starlight. Her ears remain slightly open, listening to the night's faintest pulses. She is watchful, patient, the quiet guardian of countless nights like this. Inside the crescent, younger elephants breathe in slow harmony. Some rest with heads leaned gently against others. A few shift their weight, finding the most comfortable position to stand. A soft chorus of rumbling passes through the group, a quiet conversation, a lullaby made of deep vibrations. The calf, nestled against her mother's side, feels those rumbles travel through her tiny body. They soothe her, hold her, invite her deeper into rest. Above them, the sky sprawls in a breathtaking sweep, stars scattered like grains of light, the Milky Way stretching across the darkness like a pale ribbon. But the calf doesn't look up. Her world is here, warm hides, steady breathing, the comfort of bodies pressed gently together. A light breeze sweeps across the grasses, carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers. and the distant promise of cooler hours before dawn. The herd remains still, a living sculpture of unity and trust. And in that closeness, in that quiet, in that deep-rooted safety, the calf learns another truth that will stay with her all her life. That family is not just protection, it is peace. A peace built from being held, heard, and never, ever alone. Time folds softly as the years pass, each season carving new strength and quiet wisdom into the calf. Now no longer a calf, but a steady young elephant, moving confidently with her family. She has wandered through rains and droughts, crossed plains and rivers, lived inside the long memory of her herd, and life, in its patient way, continues to unfold. One season, the matriarch slows, not suddenly, not worryingly, but unmistakably. Her steps grow more deliberate, her pauses grow longer, her eyes, once sharply fixed on the horizon, now linger on familiar places with deeper affection, as if saying goodbye without sorrow. The herd feels it. They adjust without discussion, moving at her pace, matching her rhythm, gathering closer. The calf, now nearly grown, watches the matriarch with quiet reverence. This elephant has led them through storms, found water where none seemed possible, faced predators with unwavering calm, and carried decades of memory in her heart. Now, the land moves around her more gently, as if honoring her presence. The matriarch guides them on one more migration, one she's walked countless times. She knows every rise, every bend, every hidden pool. The journey is slow but peaceful. The savanna glows gold in late afternoon light. Dust rises in soft clouds behind the herd. Birds glide overhead, keeping loose company. Along the way, the matriarch pauses often, touching old trees, lingering at familiar watering spots, standing still in places where long-gone calves once played at her feet. The younger elephant, now strong and sure, stays at her side. She senses something shifting, a passing of knowledge, a quiet handing over of the invisible map that only matriarchs carry. One evening, they stop beneath a wide acacia. The sky deepens into a violet dusk. The matriarch lowers herself gently to the earth, something she rarely does unless she trusts the moment. The herd gathers close, their rumbles low and soft, vibrations of love and gratitude. There is no fear, only presence. The matriarch rests, breathing slowly, her gaze reflecting the last light of day. And then, in the calmest of ways, in a silence so deep it feels sacred, she becomes still. The herd stands with her long into the night, touching her gently, remembering her deeply, and when dawn finally comes, they rise together, turn toward the familiar path, and begin their next migration, guided not by her footsteps, but by her memory woven into the land. Night drapes itself over the savanna like a soft, cool blanket. The air grows tender, touched with the scent of damp earth and distant water. Shadows deepen until the land becomes a gentle tapestry of blues and silvers. The young elephant, now approaching adulthood, walks quietly with her herd. They move through tall grasses brushed by moonlight, their steps slow and unforced, their bodies swaying like calm ships on a quiet sea. Night is their companion. It softens the world. It hushes every sharp edge of daylight. It invites rest, reflection, and deep communal peace. The matriarch's absence is felt, but not feared. Her memory lingers in every shift of the herd, in the path they choose, in the pauses they take, in the way they gather close beneath the open sky. Tonight, the air hums with tranquility, Crickets pulse their steady song, slow, rhythmic, soothing. A nightjar glides low, its wings whispering in delicate feathers. Fireflies drift between the grasses, tiny lanterns dancing in the dark. A breeze carries the faint murmur of a distant river, moving like a lullaby through the warm air. The young elephant pauses to listen, her ears open wide, her trunk lifted softly to taste the night. She senses nothing urgent, only calm, only the serene pulse of life settling into stillness. Around her, the herd begins to relax. Older elephants shift their weight into comfortable standing positions. Some lean gently against one another. A younger calf nestles close to its mother, breathing tiny, content breaths. The moon rises higher, casting a pale glow over the land. The light catches the elephant's dust-coated skin, making them look like sculptures made of silver and earth. In this quiet hour, the young elephant feels the presence of something larger, the continuity of her family, the strength of their unity, the unbroken line of memory that holds them all together. Night settles deep, the grassland exhales, the world slows to its softest pace, and the herd drifts into a tranquil, shared rest, standing together under the wide, star-dusted sky, held by the calm rhythm of the wild. As dawn gently unfolds across the savanna, the young elephant, now matured, steady, and strong, moves through a landscape marked by quiet echoes of the past. Everywhere she walks, she steps into the faint traces of elephants long gone. Some footprints are fresh, some are softened by wind, some barely remain at all, shallow depressions in the earth, slowly returning to soil. It is in these fading marks that she begins to understand something profound, that all lives, even the largest among them, eventually blend back into the land that shaped them. The earth remembers every footstep, not in permanence, but in transformation. A place where her grandmother once walked is now a cradle of young grass. A path carved by migrating herds years before she was born has become a dry riverbed, its curves mirroring the slow pattern of ancient journeys. She pauses now at one such place, a shallow basin where dust gathers lightly. The wind moves across it, smoothing the edges, softening what remains of a footprint left by the matriarch in her final season. The young elephant lowers her trunk and brushes the soil softly, as if greeting the lingering memory of that steady presence. There is no sadness in her gesture, only acceptance, only gratitude. Footprints fading into earth is not a loss, it is a return. Around her, life moves calmly. A small herd of antelope grazes along the tree line. Birds hop between fallen branches, their calls stitching morning together. A distant giraffe glides across the horizon, its silhouette tall and slow, as if painted by dawn's gentle hand. The elephant stands still for a moment, feeling the subtle tremor of her herd moving behind her. Their vibrations travel through the soil like warm, familiar echoes. She follows the feeling, not rushing, not hesitating, simply joining the rhythm that continues, just as it always has. As they walk, her feet sink slightly into the warming ground, creating new impressions that the wind will soften in its own time. She does not think about how long they will last. She simply walks, knowing that each step is both a presence and a passing. In the wild, nothing is truly gone. It simply changes shape, from footprints into dust, from memories into instinct, from lives into landscapes. The young elephant feels the truth of this settling gently inside her. The earth beneath her feet is not a map of endings, but a record of continuations. And as she moves forward, her own footprints begin their quiet journey toward becoming earth again. The afternoon brings a warm, wandering wind sweeping across the plains, a wind filled with scents, stories, and distant echoes. For elephants, wind is more than air in motion. It is a messenger, a quiet storyteller, carrying fragments of the world from one life to another. The young elephant lifts her trunk, letting the breeze drift across her sensitive skin. She inhales deeply. On the wind, she finds the faint sweetness of blooming shrubs, the earthy tang of fresh dug soil, the distant musk of another herd, the sharp, metallic scent of rain forming far away. Each note is a memory of something she once knew, or something her ancestors knew long before her. Wind is nature's archive. It holds landscapes, carries seasons, reminds the herd of places they have walked and places they may walk again. She steps onto a small rise where the breeze is strongest. Grass leans in soft waves. Dust lifts gently, swirling like pale smoke. Her ears fan open, not searching for danger, but welcoming sensation. The herd follows at a relaxed pace, drawn toward the same invisible thread of scent. Antes rumble softly. Calves chirp, testing their own small voices against the moving air. The young elephant closes her eyes. The wind hums against her skin. She remembers a day in her childhood when a breeze like this carried the smell of her first big storm. Another time, it carried the scent of her mother returning from a long graze. Another time still, it carried the last breath of the matriarch's presence, soft and warm, just before she became part of the earth. Wind reminds elephants not just of where they have been, but of what they have belonged to. As she listens, she senses something deeper, a calm certainty that memory is not held only within bodies, but shared with the land, carried through air, passed gently between generations. A gust brushes her cheek. She leans into it. It feels like recognition, like greeting an old friend arriving without hurry. The savanna opens wide before her, rolling grasslands, acacia silhouettes, distant water glinting in the sun. The wind continues its slow storytelling, carrying scents from places she has yet to explore, inviting her toward new chapters. And as she breathes in, her chest rises with the quiet understanding that nature remembers everything and carries those memories forward on every warm breeze. Evening gathers gently over the savanna, a soft wash of amber dissolving into purple, shadows lengthening until they melt into one another. The young elephant, now fully grown, calm, and steady, walks at an easy pace beside her herd. Their steps are slow, leaving light impressions in the warm soil. The air is cool and smooth, carrying the hush of approaching night. This is the time of day when everything returns, the birds to their branches, the wind to its whisper, the savanna to its quiet breathing. And the elephants, too, follow a soft path that feels almost like returning home. Not a single place, not a single memory, but a feeling woven beneath their feet. As they walk, fireflies bloom across the grasses, tiny lanterns drifting upward, rising like sparks from an unseen fire. The calf she once was would have tried to chase them. Now she simply watches with a deep, steady peace. Her mother walks close, their bodies brushing occasionally in gentle, wordless affection. Younger elephants flank the group, while elders maintain a calm, protective perimeter. There is no urgency in their movement, no fear, only rhythm. The savanna exudes its nighttime softness. Grasses sway lightly, The horizon glows with the last traces of sun. A warm breeze moves low along the ground, carrying scents of dust, distant flowers, and the faint mineral breath of cooling earth. Every path the herd takes now feels familiar, not because they have walked this exact route before, but because every place in the wild holds echoes of others, shade reminiscent of old acacias, a bend in the land that mirrors a childhood memory, a rock formation touched by generations of passing trunks. The elephants move as though guided by something within, a map made of instinct, of rhythm, of countless lessons etched into their bodies. The grown elephant feels it now more clearly than ever, that home is not found by traveling outward, but by traveling inward, into calm, presence, and quiet knowing. Night settles deeper, stars bloom overhead, the herd slows, forming a familiar arc of togetherness. She leans gently against her mother, breathing in the scent she has known since birth, warm, grounding, eternal. And in this moment, under a sky full of silver, she feels the softest path home, not a destination, but a feeling that rises inside her like a slow, peaceful tide. Night deepens until it becomes a soft ocean of blue, the savanna wrapped in quiet, the stars steady and bright above the resting herd. The grown elephant stands still, her breath slow, her eyes half closed in a gentle drift between wakefulness and sleep. Around her, the herd settles into peaceful positions, young calves pressed against their mothers, older elephants leaning into the steady shapes of trees, the new matriarch resting tall and watchful at the outer arc. The air tastes cool, filled with the faint sweetness of distant blossoms and the grounding scent of warm dust settling for the night. This is the hour when the wild speaks its softest truths. Crickets hum their constant lullaby. A faint breeze moves across the land, like fingers brushing the tall grasses. Somewhere far off, a river murmurs, a quiet reminder of continuity. The elephant closes her eyes fully now. Her breathing deepens, her thoughts slow. The world becomes a tapestry of sensation, not sharp, not demanding, but soft and expansive. She remembers her first steps, the warmth of her mother, the shade of acacias, the rumble of her family keeping her safe. She remembers rains that felt like joy, droughts that shaped her strength, paths guided by instinct older than her own life. And she feels, perhaps more clearly than ever, that she is part of a long, flowing story, one that began long before her and will continue long after. Nothing in nature is still, not truly, not even in sleep. The grasses sway, the stars drift, the earth hums its endless vibration beneath her feet. Everything flows, life into life, memory into instinct, footsteps into soil, seasons into seasons, families into futures. She exhales, a long, slow breath dissolving into the night. In the gentle dark, the wind carries an old truth, that nothing must be held tightly, that everything finds its place again in the rhythm of the wild, that rest is not an interruption, but part of the flow. The new matriarch rumbles softly, a note so low it feels like the ground is singing. The herd answers with quiet vibrations, a collective lullaby. The grown elephant drifts deeper, her body still, her mind soft as dusk. And as the night folds around the herd, the last lines of sleepy nature's sleep rise like a calm tide. Everything flows through the wild. Sleep in that motion.